Welcome to our YouTube channel where we share interesting movie facts. Join us as we uncover the secrets and trivia behind your favorite films. From classic Hollywood hits to indie gems, we cover it all. So sit back, relax, and enjoy learning something new about the movies you love. Number 1. The film's budget is a whopping amount. Director James Cameron has tried to keep the lid sealed on just how much Avatar: The Way of Water cost to produce. He's also expressed that the film possibly represented the worst business case in movie history, as in order to be profitable. Well, the latest sources have now hit Cameron's point home, as it was recently revealed that the film could have cost a ginormous $350–400 million. Yikes. Number 2. The epic finale fight scene was acted out underwater. Toward the end of the film, there is a huge and seriously long-winded fight scene between Jake Sully and Quaritch. As the sequence played out, I was sucked into believing that there really were lives at stake. Then, I got home and watched some BTS footage, and now, I know why, the sequence really was filmed underwater. Number 3. The cast and crew logged over 200,000 free dive hours. Supervising master diver for Avatar: The Way of Water stated that more than 200,000 dives had gone into making what he thought was the most complicated diving movie ever made. In the interview, he expressed that this number includes the amount of free dives, which were also difficult to log because some of them ranged from 30 to 60 seconds, while others were consistently longer. Number 4. The movie was basically edited twice. Cameron expressed that the 4 editors were run of show for 5 years, with 2 other editors who were in for a year or a couple of years, and then a staff of about a dozen assistants split between LA and New Zealand. The process was intensive because the team basically edited the whole movie twice. As Rifkin explains, "Our first tasks as scenes are shot is to go through the dailies with Cameron, find out what he's interested in, and create what we call a performance edit." Number 5. The rendering of Avatar 2 caused WETA to outgrow the power grid. WETA FX outgrew the power grid which supported its data center in Wellington, New Zealand, as it got ready to render shots from the new film. Apparently, Avatar 2 averaged 500 iterations per shot, all of those which needed to be rendered one after the other. The higher frame rate and new tech meant that rendering each frame took up 8,000 thread hours, equivalent to 3,000 virtual CPUs in a cloud data center running for an hour. The high demand was mostly due to the need to simulate water for the film. Number 6. Kate Winslet smashed Tom Cruise's breath hold record. In Mission Impossible: Rogue Nation, Tom Cruise managed to hold his breath for just over 6 minutes. Crazy, right? Well, he's now been knocked off the top spot thanks to Kate Winslet. Her role and training for Avatar saw her successfully beat her own record, and Tom's, by holding her breath for 7 minutes and 14 seconds. Number 7. 57 new species of sea creatures were created for the film. Whilst an apparent 57 new species of sea creatures were created for the film, it's no surprise that Cameron's ideas for Pandora were inspired by the marine life that exists, or used to exist, right here on Earth. When watching the film, you'll spot other unworldly wonders that are still a bit familiar to the eye. Here's looking at the Tulkuns in particular. Number 8. The Na'vi costumes were made in real life first. Turns out, the costume designer, Deborah L. Scott, and her team built every single bracelet, necklace, and fabrics worn by the Na'vi people. The reason for this? Because the technology is so good at capturing the image and texture of these pieces, you can't draw it in the computer and expect it to have the 3-dimensional life it has. So, the costume department put in a ton of effort to make sure the designs, fabric, and how everything interacted with the water would inform the digital artists well enough to get it to look real. Number 9. Filming didn't start until all 5 Avatar films had been written. With 5 films in mind for Avatar, Cameron followed in the steps of Peter Jackson by waiting to start filming the sequel until all of the scripts for Avatar 2, 3, 4, and 5 were complete. Jackson took this approach for the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and safe to say, the result was a masterpiece, so Cameron decided to follow a tried and tested method. Number 10. We really did wait a long time for this sequel, and for good reason. With so much time being spent on the writing for all of the remaining Avatar films, it's no wonder that filming also took a pretty long time, with shooting starting in 2017 and wrapping in 2020. The making of Avatar 2 was a long process for sure. To put the filming time into perspective, one of the biggest grossing blockbuster films in recent years. Number 11. Cameron wrote 1,500 pages of notes for the 4 writers who had the task of turning it into the scripts. The director wrote the 1,500 pages of notes to create a visually detailed universe for the writers. In terms of the process, Cameron and the writing team sat in the writing room for 8 hours a day over 5 months, working out the story across all remaining Avatar films so it connected as one saga. Number 12. Edward Norton turned down a chance to appear. Edward Norton was apparently offered a role direct from Cameron, but whilst the actor was keen, he didn't want to play a character responsible for destroying Pandora. Norton was such a big fan of the first film and only wanted to play a Na'vi, but Cameron had a human role in mind for him. Number 13. The length of the film was notable. The Way of Water came in at a whopping 192 minutes, which is 3 hours and 12 minutes to do that math for you. Going over 3 hours was a threshold to cross. The movie is only the second 20th Century Studios film, after Titanic, to be over 3 hours. Also, only the second Disney-distributed movie. Oh, between the greenlighting of Avatar 2 and its release, Disney notably bought up 20th Century Fox. Number 14. The actors' skills were put to the test even more with Cameron opting for wet photography. As visual effects supervisor, Richie Bainham explained in an interview, if an actor is genuinely in water, there's a viscous resistance. It informs the actor's choices, that's what makes it feel real. When watching the film, you'll really notice and get a feel for the effort that has gone into the underwater moments, from the seamless riding of the sea creature, to how the character's hands sway when interacting with the aquatic plants. Number 15. You guessed it, the underwater tanks were specifically created for the film. 2 massive tanks were engineered at Manhattan Beach Studios to help bring Cameron's wet plan to life. One of the tanks was used for training and intimate character moments, whilst the other beast of a tank, measuring 120 feet long, 60 feet wide, and 30 feet deep with a 250,000-gallon capacity, to be exact, was full of wave and current machines designed to enhance the action-packed sequences. Number 16. James Cameron opted for 3D cameras over converting the movie to 3D. Many films choose to convert a movie to 3D in post-production. If you reflect on the 3D films over the years, you may not recall many of them actually being shot on 3D cameras. The director ensured the film was filmed for IMAX and in 3D, with a special Sony Cine Alta Venice 3D system that could be used underwater. Number 17. Apparently, one story idea could have bombed. According to writers Jaffa and Silva, there's one moment in the film that they believed to be a high-wire act because if it wasn't done correctly, viewers may have thought it was too crazy and not bought into it. The risky moment? The friendship exploration of Loke, Britton Dalton, and the giant Tulkun, Peakan. Apparently, the worries were over the fact that it's a storyline that is pretty alien to viewers. Number 18. Avatar 2 was nominated for 80th Golden Globe Awards before its release as the film received nominations for Best Motion Picture, Drama and Best Director. Avatar 2 already received 5+ international awards. Number 19. Avatar 2 is releasing in China, making it one of the few Hollywood blockbusters to be granted permission to release in 2022 as they banned Hollywood movies. Number 20. Cameron's original 2009 Avatar is at the top of the highest-grossing movies list, $2.9 billion. Disney's Avengers: Endgame is in second position with $2.7 million, while Cameron's Titanic remains in the third slot with $2.1 billion. Number 21. The second film continues the mix of sci-fi and eco-politics, returning to the planet Pandora where the Na'vi characters struggle to fend off rapacious humans, as well as the groundbreaking use of 3D and cutting-edge cinematic wizardry that made the original such a box office hit. We hope you enjoyed learning some fascinating movie facts with us today. If you want to keep up with our latest content and never miss out on any behind-the-scenes trivia, be sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. We'll see you in the next video with even more amazing movie facts.